was getting started after 20 years of non-existence. And as you'd expect, it's a film full of invention and exuberance. Rough at the edges it may be at times, but it's a film of which I'm very fond, and it's a film which I think was ahead of its time. One problem we had in finding a copy tonight was that the only uncut copy of the film, which hasn't been seen for many years and as far as I know isn't available on video, the only uncut copy has rather bad scratches in some parts, especially near the beginning. I thought it was better to show you a scratched version rather than a cut version, so please bear with me as far as the cuts are concerned. Interestingly, although it hasn't been seen for many years, the reputation of the film is such that it's just been staged as an opera in Melbourne, and I think the opera actually ends this very night. Well, here it is then, Peter Weir's first film, The Cars That Ate Paris. That was Peter Weir's first feature, The Cars That Ate Paris, made in 1974, and a film bursting with ideas and imagination. An unclassifiable film, really, part science fiction, part western, part horror, part Australiana, but most of all, a comedy with great comedy performances, and maybe a film which predicted some of the attitudes of young people, which weren't really in place when it was made, but with which we're more familiar these days. An important Australian movie, and I'm only sorry we had to show you a rather scratched print tonight, but as I said at the beginning, this was the only uncut version of The Cars That Ate Paris that we could locate in Australia. Well now, before we go to our second classic of the evening, last year at Marienbad, let's take a look at next week's programme on Cinema Classics. At first sight, you may think that our films, one French, one Japanese, are totally different. But both are films made by miniaturists, filmmakers interested in the details of everyday life. Jacques Tati's Mon Oncle is, of course, a great comedy in which Tati satirizes modern living through his character of Monsieur Hulot. It's a wonderful film. And it'll be followed by Yasujiro Ozu's Flavor of Green Tea Over Rice, one of the finest of Ozu's delicate family dramas. So that's Tati's Mon Oncle and Ozu's Flavor of Green Tea Over Rice, next on Cinema Classics. And now stay viewing, and I'll be back soon with Last Year at Marienbad.